Hello, and welcome to Step 10. Continue to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. Shortly after I reached out to my son, the addict, a few months ago and talked with him about Step 9 and wanting to make amends, he was arrested and has been in jail ever since. A week or so ago, I received a letter from him with his thoughts on how I had wronged him, which enabled me to complete Step 9 and move on to Step 10. I think it's important to be patient and make sure the timing is right when working Step 9. Step 10 begins the maintenance phase of the Nar-Anon 12-step program. In previous steps, we began to change and replace old habits with healthy alternatives through the help of our higher power. The first 9 steps helped us put our lives in order and change some of our negative behaviors. We increased our ability to develop healthier ways of taking care of ourselves and relating to others. We are moving in a new direction with constructive goals for ourselves. To continue our growth, we enrich our lives by weeding out self-defeating behaviors and habits. Step 10 keeps us on the path to recovery by suggesting we continue to take a personal inventory to examine our strengths, weaknesses, behaviors, and motives. Before working the steps, we may have felt justified in our actions. Maintaining a changed attitude is not a one-time occurrence. It is an ongoing process of self-reflection. The 10th step suggests we monitor our behaviors on a continual basis. When we came to Nar-Anon, we learned we could change our lives for the better. The 10th step sustains this change. It helps us admit promptly when we are wrong and observe how we relate to those around us. This keeps our focus on the present moment and living one day at a time. In the past, we may have disregarded small problems until they multiplied or became too large to ignore. We now have the awareness and skills to recognize issues as they occur, helping us maintain balance in our lives. We also realize we can easily slip back into our old behaviors, especially in times of stress or crisis. A member shares, "A daily process of self-examination keeps me focused on my changed attitudes. I don't want to retreat to old behavior." Suggestions for applying Step 10. Taking a frequent inventory and admitting when we are wrong helps keep us honest. A Step 10 inventory does not need to be a time-consuming task. Make a simple and honest effort to take a personal inventory on a regular basis, as this allows us to grow spiritually. When we accept and forgive our mistakes and those of others, we realize we do not always have to be right. Make an effort to find gratitude and happiness. Continuing our inventory, promptly admitting our wrongs. We have taken our inventory, admitted our wrongs, and became willing to have our higher power change us and remove our shortcomings. We have compiled a list of the people we harmed and made our amends. Now we apply what we have learned as we become conscious of our behaviors and more focused on our serenity. Members share on promptly admitting our wrongs. I have a tremendous ego, and it's difficult for me to think, much less admit, when I am wrong. My pride is so strong I resist promptly admitting it, thus prolonging the bad feelings. For me, this is a humbling experience, and I sometimes feel vulnerable. And promptly admitted it, for me, can be a stumbling block. It is easier to continue to take a personal inventory than to promptly admit my wrongs. In order to be true to myself, I made a promise that I would not go to sleep at night before admitting my wrongs. If my inventory involves another person, I pick up the phone, send an email, or write a note to the person with whom I need to be honest. This has become a routine like brushing my teeth. I like to know when my head hits the pillow I have also put Step 10 to bed for the day. 3 types of inventories. Spot check inventory. This involves assessing our attitudes and motives while reviewing our actions. We examine situations we encounter and promptly take corrective action when needed. We can also focus on our positive characteristics and improvements in our behavior. Question number 1. Which of my old behaviors are reappearing most often? I think negative thoughts, especially thoughts that something bad will happen to one of my children, happens the most often. Number 2. How can I remind myself to take a spot check inventory every day? I can set a reminder on my phone to spend a few minutes at night before bed to reflect on the day. Number 3. Which behaviors are not appearing as often? I think my quickness to anger is getting a little better. Number 4. How am I doing? Is my spot check inventory helping me in my daily life as I interact with others? I am just beginning to integrate the spot check inventory into my routine, but I think it's a good idea. I am getting better at letting go of the things I cannot control. I am better able to determine what is within my power to control. The second type of inventory is a daily inventory. After careful reflection and praying for guidance, we stop some time each day to review our current circumstances. By taking a daily inventory, we are reminded to live one day at a time. We may use a journal or inventory log to check our progress. Question number 5. How was I good to myself today? I took a nice nap. Question number 6. What do I have to be grateful for? I am grateful for my health and that my children are healthy. Number 7. What boundaries did I set today with no expectations? This wasn't applicable today, but recently I made it clear to someone that I would not tolerate a certain behavior of theirs. If they choose to disregard my boundary, I will not engage with them. Number 8. What problem areas have I noticed in my life? I still have a problem not being as calm as I want when discussing and handling conflict. Number 9. How did I handle conflicts today? This wasn't today, but a few days ago, during a conflict with my mom, I stated my perspective and the impact to me, asked for an explanation, and gave her an opportunity to respond. When she chose not to explain, I did not continue the conversation. Number 10. How does this daily reflection help me be more aware of my behaviors? Reflecting on my behavior after the fact when I am not as emotionally elevated helps me see what I can do to improve. A lot of behavior is automatic, so the reflection helps me react less automatically in the future. The final type of inventory is a long-term periodic inventory. We can set aside special days for reflection. This can be done by finding time to be alone or perhaps by going away to a retreat or a place that inspires us. Long-term inventories help us evaluate problem areas. We may discover new defects or uncover strengths of character. A periodic inventory gives us an opportunity to renew our intentions to live healthier, more fulfilling lives. We understand each time we work these steps we are at a different point in our lives. Doing this type of inventory gives us an opportunity to see our growth. Members reflect on doing a long-term periodic inventory. Doing a long-term inventory was a wonderful experience. I learned the importance of taking a personal inventory and gained an awareness of behavior problems that continued to surface in my life. With my higher power and Naranon, I have been given tools to handle life's problems. A weekend away helped me work on issues that had been bothering me and improve my relationship with my higher power. I was able to sit, reflect, and relax, something I do not allow myself to do at home because of many distractions. This allowed me to get to know other members of Naranon and be grateful for everything in my life. Question number 11. How often am I setting aside time to do a long-term periodic inventory? I plan to do this once per year. In the future, maybe I can do it more often. Number 12. What new behaviors am I discovering? I am discovering an avoidance behavior that I typically did not acknowledge in the past. I need to force myself to do things that are hard. I am also discovering a perseverance behavior. Despite all my avoidance, hesitation, fear, setbacks, and uncertainty, I continue to move forward on my healing journey. Number 13. What issues in my life could benefit from a long-term inventory? I think my emotional reactivity, fear, and letting go of the past could benefit from a long-term inventory. Number 14. How am I using what I learned in steps 4 through 9 to help with my inventory? I am trying to focus on what is good about myself while acknowledging what I can do to improve. I am trying to be gentle and patient with myself for my shortcomings and rely on God to help me overcome them. Accepting responsibility. Step 10 encourages us to maintain the recovery we have achieved thus far. As we did in Step 4, we acknowledge our positive traits and achievements. We discovered in Steps 8 and 9 that our well-being is best served by making amends. In working Step 10, we make prompt amends by accepting responsibility for our actions. Number 15. Do I continue to justify past behaviors instead of admitting my wrongs? If so, explain why. Sometimes I justify past behaviors if I understand the logical reasoning behind it. Just because it was wrong doesn't mean there wasn't a good reason for doing it. Hindsight is always 20/20. Number 16. What am I keeping to myself that I should discuss with my sponsor? I don't have a sponsor, but I keep stuff to myself that I think others couldn't help me with. Number 17. How am I maintaining personal integrity in my relationships with others? I try to treat others how I want to be treated. I don't always succeed. Number 18. What apologies or amends do I need to make today? I'm not sure. I will think about it. Freedom and serenity. The freedom and serenity we have achieved by working the first 9 steps can only be maintained by depending on our higher power and practicing the principles of the program. If we do not continue to work on our recovery, it can be easy to find excuses to skip meetings and revert to old behaviors. We want to recognize how far we have come, not how far we have to go. Recovery is about moving forward and focusing on what we have accomplished. We use the knowledge we have gained about ourselves to attain peace and serenity. Our growth is amazing, our self-esteem is developing, and our old habits are slipping away. Question number 19. If I see old patterns emerging, what can I do to get back on track? I need to be purposeful to stop and reset my automatic responses when this happens. It is easy to get off track. Daily reflection can help determine if old patterns have emerged, and it's best to stop them before they take hold. Number 20. How did attending Nar-Anon meetings or talking to a trusted Nar-Anon friend help me to find freedom and serenity? I don't go to meetings, but focusing on the serenity prayer is helpful. Focusing on what I can control and only living my own life helps me find freedom and serenity. Number 21. How has being of service helped me focus on my own recovery? I think everyone on earth has a God-given purpose. We were all created to love. When I am able to love others by being of service to them, I am being the person I was created to be, which brings meaning and peace to life. Number 22. How did I use the principles of the program today? I recently finished reading Brandon Novak's memoir, and it has helped me understand how sick and desperate an addict can become, and no one can save them but themselves through the help of their own higher power. I try every day to accept that my son the addict will choose his own path, and I can't save him. I hope that over time this will decrease my fear of losing him. Progress and self-reflection. In our recovery, we work toward positive changes in our attitudes and interactions with others. We take note of the progress we have made and some of our biggest accomplishments with regard to the following. Resentment. Question number 23. How do I practice tolerance and compassion for others? This is hard for me to do when someone has hurt me. I want to avoid people who have hurt me. I can still treat them with kindness and respect, and not do anything directly on purpose to hurt them. Number 24. How can I forgive those who hurt me so I don't carry resentments? My issue is not forgiving, but forgetting. I can forgive and move on, but that doesn't necessarily mean I still want to have a close relationship with someone I don't trust. So I struggle with how to have a relationship with someone even though I have made a decision to forgive them. Number 25. Why is it important to focus on my own inventory instead of someone else's? This can be hard because it is much easier to see what other people are doing wrong rather than myself, but I will not heal and grow by focusing on the inventory of someone else. I must work on my own shortcomings and acknowledge my strengths to be emotionally healthier. Number 26. How do I take responsibility for my actions? I think this takes a lot of self-awareness and humility. I should reflect on my day to see if my behavior was hurtful to others. If so, I should do my best to acknowledge it to them and work to correct it in the future. Fear. Question number 27. Does fear prevent me from accepting change? I can be paralyzed by fear. It can cause me to not take action or to take the wrong actions. How willing am I to change? I am intellectually willing, but emotionally less willing. I know I need to act from a place of reason, not fear. I need to trust my judgment and be okay with making mistakes. I need to accept others making mistakes too. Number 28. How does admitting my fears allow me to face them honestly? When I admit fears, I can see what decisions I would make out of fear and which decisions I would make rationally. If I can admit fears, I can work with myself to accept the fear, let it exist, and still make good decisions that are not based in fear. Number 29. How am I relying on my higher power for courage? I am praying to God for courage, that He will guide me and strengthen me. Number 30. How can I overcome feeling threatened by others? I don't usually feel threatened by others, I just don't like them and avoid them. If I feel threatened, there would typically be a good reason. I would focus on what I can control, which includes my own thoughts and behavior. Number 31. What tools do I use to help me through fearful situations? I can pray, I can journal my thoughts and feelings, I can talk to my therapist for guidance, and I can accept the present moments as they come and just take it one moment at a time. Anger. Question number 32. In what ways can healthy boundaries help me control my anger? If I set and hold healthy boundaries, I do not have to engage with people who are not respectful of my boundaries. By not engaging with them, I am better able to control feelings of anger. Number 33. How do I maintain inner peace when encountering stressful situations? In therapy, I learned a skill to do when in a stressful situation. It's called the STOP skill, S-T-O-P. S is for stop, to not react automatically. T is for take a step back, and take a break from the situation, take some deep breaths, and avoid acting impulsively. O is for observe, to notice my thoughts and feelings. What is the situation? What is going on inside and outside of me, including what others are saying or doing? P is for proceed mindfully, which is to act with awareness. In deciding what to do, consider my thoughts and feelings, the situation, and the other people's thoughts and feelings. Consider what the goal is, and which actions would make it better or worse. Number 34. Do I understand anger can be a warning of something that needs to be addressed? Yes, I understand that when I am easily triggered by something, I have an unresolved issue that I need to work on. Number 35. What are appropriate ways to express my anger? I can express my feelings respectfully. Walk away from the situation. Journal. Sleep. Exercise. Take deep breaths, or meditate. Number 36. How did anger help me reach my bottom? What changes did it make as a result? I think anger has helped me be able to set boundaries going forward. It is a work in progress. Caretaking. Question number 37. Are there situations where I still try to rescue others? Explain. I don't want to see my children fail. I still intervene with school situations. I am quick to want to intervene with job or relationship situations, but they are getting old enough to not let me, so I don't. Number 38. Have I developed other caretaking relationships? If so, describe them. Not all of my children are adults, so I still have a caretaking mindset for the children, even the older ones. Their life has been chaotic with having an addict in the family. I strive to provide them with stability and support. Number 39. How am I taking care of myself? I am going to therapy, taking medication, and sleeping well. Number 40. What have I done to develop my own identity? I am trying to really know myself, to heal and grow, and not rely on others to feel whole. Number 41. What do I want for myself that does not require action from someone else? I want to have inner peace and know that I have inherent value that is not based on any achievements. Control. Question number 42. Do I still try to control others, or can I accept them for who they are? It depends on who it is and if their behavior has any impact on me. If their behavior does not have any impact on me, I try to accept them for who they are. Number 43. When I recognize I am expecting others to act in a certain way, what can I do differently? I can establish boundaries and reduce or eliminate engagement if the boundary is not respected. Number 44. When I become aware I am trying to control others, how can surrendering to my higher power's will help? I can pray the Serenity Prayer. I can trust that God will provide me with the guidance and strength I need in those moments to let go of my need to control, and trust that He will handle everything according to His will for my life. Isolation. Question number 45. How does my life improve when I no longer isolate? I'm not sure that it does. I will have to think about this. Number 46. How am I actively participating in life today? I am around my family and engaging with them. Number 47. How am I choosing relationships that are safe and supportive? I am careful with whom I share important information and rely on for support. I avoid engaging on social media and have realistic expectations about what I can expect from people. Number 48. What activities are helping me have fun and enjoy life? I like spending time with people I care about, reading, playing games on my phone, writing, and going on vacation. Number 49. How do I maintain balance between work and relaxation? I work full-time, but I am able to relax on most evenings and during the weekends. I make relaxing a priority. I know it's important to my overall well-being. I try not to overschedule myself. Self-esteem. Question number 50. How can expressing my feelings help my self-esteem? When I take the time to know and understand my feelings and express them, I honor myself and validate my own experiences. Number 51. In what ways am I more confident and able to act more assertively? I am able to act more assertively when I know myself and know what my wants and needs are. Naming my feelings and giving myself space to accept them without judgment enables me to accept myself as I am and to more confidently express myself to others, both verbally and non-verbally. Number 52. How has working the steps helped me find love and compassion for myself? Healing and growth is not an event, it's a process. Working the steps helps me know that I'm not alone, that God loves all of us despite our shortcomings, and that we all have intrinsic value as people. Number 53. How does trusting my own judgment help me accept myself as I am? If I can't trust myself, I'm not sure how I can expect others to trust me. If I trust myself and have compassion for any mistakes I make, I will be better at accepting myself as I am. Mistaken sense of responsibility. Question number 54. Why do I feel responsible for the actions of others? I think if I had been a better parent, my children would not do certain behaviors or have their own emotional struggles. Number 55. How am I learning to accept my limitations? I am realizing that no matter what, my children would still not know everything and would still make mistakes and have bad judgments sometimes. No matter what kind of parent I was, they would still have some degree of suffering and would have their own problems in life. Number 56. What are some of the ways I have learned to delegate responsibility? I have been better at having my children handle more of their personal tasks instead of doing it for them. Sometimes we will do it together instead of my doing it by myself. Number 57. How easy is it to admit my mistakes and then let them go? It is not easy, but I am getting a little better at it. Number 58. Do I tend to automatically blame myself? If so, how can my relationship with a higher power help? It depends on the situation. Sometimes, yes, I blame myself automatically. I can trust God to get me through each situation, to learn from my mistakes, and to be patient with others when they make mistakes. Self-reflection. Question number 59. Why is it as important to take an inventory as it is to admit I am wrong? I think they both help with self-awareness. Healing and growth can't happen without self-awareness. Number 60. What strengths and changes have I found in myself while working Step 10? I was avoiding Step 10 for a long time. It seemed overwhelming and daunting. I started working it just a little bit at a time, and praised myself for any amount I accomplished. I found that doing small pieces over time enabled me to accomplish it without the negative feelings I had at the beginning. I felt proud for the small goals I was reaching, instead of feeling down on myself for not getting it all finished quickly. I liked that I wasn't hard on myself and was patient with myself. Number 61. How has this step shown me how much I have grown in recovery? It's hard to notice growth unless you stop and assess it. It's like seeing a child you haven't seen in a long time, and you notice how much they've grown. But the children you see every day, you don't notice a tiny amount of growth happening before your eyes. So while not every day is a success, overall, when I take time to reflect on where I've been and where I'm at, I can see and feel the growth. A Step 10 story. Step 10 tells us to continue to take a personal inventory. I learned the word continuing means just what it says, ongoing, never-ending, and lifelong. It does not mean when the addict goes into recovery, I no longer need the support of my sponsor, my group, my area, or my region. This step helps me maintain my serenity and reminds me I am human. The phrase, "I'm sorry," was not always in my vocabulary. When it was, I choked on it. How could I allow anyone to know I could make a mistake? It wasn't expected of me. Now I no longer have to be perfect. All that counts is I am making progress. I can admit when I make a mistake and move on. Taking a personal inventory need not take a lot of time, just a couple of minutes a day. It keeps me aware of my strengths, weaknesses, behaviors, and motives as they show up, thus allowing me to work on them before they get out of hand. Working the step on a daily basis keeps me from becoming complacent and falling back into old behaviors. It keeps me on top of small problems by using the skills I have achieved working my program. I've learned how to take care of myself and my needs. Step 10 says I need to keep working this program to the best of my ability. This only happens if I keep coming back. Reflections on Step 10. Step 10 is about perseverance. Slowly, new persons emerge. Change is taking place. Working the step is personal and can be done in different ways. It is important to remember our ongoing recovery and spiritual growth requires maintenance. Some Nar-Anon members use quiet meditation for reflection. Some use a written journal. Step 10 ensures our spiritual growth is renewed on a daily basis. We are encouraged to look back on our day, be grateful for the good, and take responsibility for the wrongs we may have committed. We become confident in our ability to deal with life on life's terms. We have learned to accept positive reinforcements with gratitude. We find ways to transform adversities into opportunities for growth. Negative actions are recognized but not allowed to diminish our spirit and well-being. The journey of life is savored one step at a time. Recovery is exciting and renewing. We are now ready to move on to Step 11, where we will further deepen our relationship with our higher power through prayer and meditation. Thanks for listening. Join me next time as we move on to Step 11.